everyone, it's Cathy Zielske. Welcome back to my channel and the craft/dining room. Layering stencils are such a hot trend right now. I love to use them, but I don't always get them lined up perfectly. Today I am testing out a hack that I saw on my friend Simon Hurley's YouTube channel. I felt it was brilliant and I filed it away to try just for what I'm going to do today. So first things first, I want to show you what he did that inspired me to give this a try. So here's Simon's video and this is what he did on his channel. Basically, using his Misti tool to line up stencils quickly. Now, I never thought of doing this, right? I love my Misti tool, but I never thought to do this. And the cool thing is that every time you take one of your stencils, right, all you have to do, much like if you're gonna restamp something in the same position, you just pop your stencil right back into the corner of your Misti tool using your magnets to hold everything in place. And when I saw him do that, I thought, I'm gonna try it. I have to try this to see how it works. Because like I said, a lot of these layering stencils do come with crop marks, but I still get them misaligned. And I think this little technique is absolutely genius. So that's what I'm gonna try today. Will it work for me? Well, I guess you'll have to stick around and find out. I'm gonna test out Simon's hack coming up next. So here's a look at the layering stencil set that I'm going to use today. And the cool thing is, you know, it has all of these layering pieces. Every stencil is numbered, which is very helpful. Plus it has crop marks that you can line up your paper in. But I still sometimes struggle with getting things lined up. And so today, I am going to try this little tip that I saw my friend Simon Hurley do, and I'm going to give it a try and see how it works. So I've got a handful of colors here. I decided I want blue flowers today and a little greenery. These are also from PinkFresh Studio, and I'm going to be using the coordinating die for this set, and this is pretty cool how this all works. And I'm going to be using a greeting from the actual floral set. And I'll show you a little sample at the end because you can also stencil and then stamp over, or you can do it in the reverse, this actual outline, which adds some cool look to your piece as well. Plus there's some wonderful greetings on here, so I have an idea of how that's going to work. And of course I'm going to be using my Misti tool to do this. And I've got one piece of cardstock, which I've measured to be just a little bit larger than the stencil that I'm going to be doing all the blending on. And I've got some blender brushes and I've got nails that match my ink. So we've got that going for us right out of the gate. So the first step is to put my piece of cardstock into the Misti and press it into the corner. It's not going to move. And I am going to start with layer 1. And here is the cool, I've got too many magnets here. Here's the cool thing that I learned from Simon. And I want to make sure that I'm on the right side up here. Let's double check that. Yep, I'm right side up. We are going to be placing the stencil and pushing into the corner every time. And I'm going to do my blending right in the Misti. So it's holding it in place. It gives me that common point to line it up every single time. And I think that's brilliant. Let's start with our first color, which is sky blue. And I'm starting with the lightest. Now I'm going to use my blender brushes from Gina K Designs. And what I like to do before I start out, especially if I'm switching to a different ink collection, and these are dye inks, I just like to make sure that I go over this with a paper towel to get most of that color off so that I can start fresh. So I will load up my brush here and make sure that that color is showing up. And then I'm going to go ahead and layer in the first color. Just go over the stencil, hold it in place as I go. And of course, this is layer 1 of 6. But yeah, I think this is so smart, learning this from Simon Hurley. And you know what I like to say about that kid? That kid's going places. But it's a genius hack for using these layering stencils. If you ever struggle with, you know, even with the crop marks, they still can shift and then you get your alignment slightly off. And that's okay, really. But, you know, if you're going to use a coordinating die, I think it's cool, you know, to have everything perfectly aligned. So wiping this off, right? Because we're going to move on to our next stencil. So let's get this off, and you will see Layer number 1 is in place. Isn't that pretty? All right, let's go on to layer 2. Now, make sure, again, I love the fact that they're numbered. And this right here, it's going to be moving into a greenery, right? This is actually a greenery. But again, we're placing it into the same position, putting that magnet down, all pressed in. I'm going to close this up for now. And I am going to grab one of my greens. So I'm going to go with, I think, Fresh Pear it's called. So again, take off, and I'm going to get my green. Again, I've used this recently with some Gina K ink, so I want to clean this off a little bit. And the thing is, I typically just keep my Gina K brushes for dye inks. I don't use these with oxides because an oxide or any pigment has a different property, and I really just want these for my dye inks that are water-based. And look at that, I'm just loading it up, setting that off to the side, and now clearance here. I'll just start adding this beautiful Fresh Pear to my card. And actually, I probably don't even have to tap off on this. Well, maybe a little. Come over here, get a little of that in the center there, bringing it in. These layering stencils from PinkFresh are pretty cool. I mean, I think they give you this sensation of you just created some magic that maybe you would have never been able to color or stamp, you know, because whenever I have a layering stamp set, I definitely struggle with those. I don't do a lot of them. But this is some kind of magic. All right, so we're coming in here, getting that on, and I think that's nice. All right, I'm going to go ahead and wipe that down too because I am going to be using another green. So close that up, and let's lift this off so you can see the green. The first layer. Isn't that pretty? Oh, I love it. Now we are moving on to Stencil 3, and I always do sort of this mental check to make sure that I am not doing something that I shouldn't do. And on this one, I think I'm going to go with, the mid-tone, the next color in blue. And again, let me wipe that off a little here, flip it over just to make sure. And we will load up. Yep, that's looking good. And now I'm going to bring in, put my magnet there again, make sure I'm pushed into the corner, and I'm going to bring in this blue onto my card. Isn't that pretty? Look at that color, it's gorgeous. Come into my centers, come into my centers. That. Okay, coming up here. The other thing I like about stencils is it does help you to control how much ink you are placing down. And of course, if you put a heavier push on it, you're going to get a darker. And if you go lighter, as it turns out, it'll be a little lighter. I always like to hold my brushes like this, though, because I feel like that does allow me to control how heavy the ink is. Now, this is a darker color. Of course, it'll dry a little lighter, but we'll just get that in like that. Okay. Loving it. Now let's pick it up and see what the magic looks like. Oh, isn't that cute? It's lined up so well. All right, we're moving on to stencil number 4. And again, I'm going to pop this in. And this is going to be where we add a little darkness to the piece with the darkest blue. Actually, I guess I don't need to wipe it off when you get to the darkest blue. This is the Seaside. I think that's close. Well, it's not really. Well, actually, that's pretty close to the nail. Well, I planned that. Oh, yeah, look at that. So this is where we're going to bring in a little dimension into each of our flowers with that darker blue. I like that. Oh, that's cool. Look at that. All right, and that's the only areas, right, that have that bit of, and I'm not being shy with the darkness on that because I think that's amazing. All right, let's take a look. Oh, look at that. That is just gorgeous. That is just so cool. All right, more greenery. Okay, which is going to be the key lime. And this is going to allow me to, and I don't really need to clean this off again because this is the highlight and shadow. So let's go in here on the greenery and just darken that up. The fun thing about these PinkFresh inks is they really do coordinate well together. And yeah, they're really nice ink collection. All right. But you can see how quickly this is coming together, right? And just the fact that this is all in one place in the Misti and I don't have to tape anything down, I'm loving it. And may I never ink blend a different way again. So see the dimension that you get now in the leaves? All right, now the last color, I actually think this is again for some of that shadow look. You know, I might just go again with this darker blue. I guess I could pick another blue, but I don't think I'm going to. I think I'm going to take this darker blue, tap, 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 and just kind of go lightly over it. Just, you know, bring in those centers a little bit, bring in those little details, but go lightly on it so that I'm not just slamming it through. And it's such a dark color that I think this will be okay. I think that will be okay. And it will create a nice coordination. Of course, the beautiful thing is about using the Misti, right, is that now, because I know, just like if I'm stamping more than once, I can pick this up. If I don't like it, I can add more depth. Oh, that's pretty though, isn't it? You know what? I'm going to pop it right back in and I'm going to add a tiny bit more. Just to these centers so they pop a little, they pop a little, and they pop a little. And a little bit more out here. Because I think that's nice, you know, and it creates a little more connection. Like that. Okay. Let's see how that looks. And that is my piece. I did that in, well, let's see here. As I'm recording this as I go, that's 11 minutes and I have this piece that looks just like that. Now this would be a beautiful panel in and of itself, right? You wouldn't need to, you know, put this on a card front, put a greeting on it, and you're good to go. The next thing I'm going to do here is I'm going to stamp my greeting. And I decided that I'm not going to do anything fancy. Now I am going to use the coordinating die, but not yet, because I want to keep this piece nice in the corner for stamping. I thought that if I die cut it, it could be really hard to do. And, you know, just to keep it straight if I had to come back in. And I think all I'm going to do is stamp this wonderful greeting right there in the center. I love the topography on this. And I had thought about, you know, doing some sort of like embossing or making it fancier. And you know what? Sometimes simple is perfectly fine. And I think this is a case wherein that's true. Because I think this greeting, and let's see, is that straight on? Yeah. You can always use your Misti lines to see, did you get that? It's called the baseline of your greeting lined up. And that looks really good. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to stamp this just with black ink. Just the beautiful, simple contrast of black ink on a wonderful image. I'm going to use VersaFine Clair. This is such an inky, fantastic black. I've been using this a lot in the last few months and I really like it because it stamps so crisp and so dark. All right, ink, ink. I'm going to bring that over, make sure it's in the corner. If I have to stamp it again, I'm just trying to locate my stamping tool, which I'm not seeing. Oh, I'll use this one today. I'm going to use my Nicole tool. I have a couple of these, and they just really make pressing on the Misti door a pleasurable experience because I have some wrist issues, and rather than do that, gliding with this tool is fantastic. All right, so let's see how that looks. Isn't that beautiful? It's so crisp. You know what? We don't need to stamp that again. Look at that. Enjoy the beauty of becoming. So here's the fun thing about this die. It is not hard to get lined up, right? You just kind of go around all the little areas to try to make sure that you're in there. But because that stencil was so perfectly lined up, it doesn't take long to do it all. And even if I'm off a little in certain spots, It's fine. It's going to look beautiful. So let's see here. Moving that up a little, making sure that's there. And all I'm going to do is tape it at the top. Come down here. And again, look at the bottom. See about getting those a little more lined up. Yeah, that's going to be beautiful. It's going to be beautiful. All right, a little shift there. I think we're good. All right, I brought out my Spellbinders Platinum 6, which is the machine I tend to use in videos a lot. I also have a Gemini Junior that I do a lot of die cutting off camera with. But I will just pop my plate down here and run it through the machine. The results of the cut. Oh, look at that. Isn't that pretty? Oh, let's cut out the hole here. And I love that too, that there's a few little areas here. Oh, that's the wrong one. I have two that look exactly the same. So let's take our craft pick, poke that, get those to pop out. Oh, keep poking. There you go. There you go. Craft pick, very helpful for the pokey poke. And this little guy down here, again, little poke and pop that out. Oh, there's one more. All right. Now there's two more, and I didn't realize that because of the greeting. Oh, I didn't realize that, but you know what? I think we are still beautiful, and no one is going to judge me for taking off a nugget of the G. I'm going to put this on a white card base. I thought about doing a pale blue, but you know, you kind of got to go with what's in your wheelhouse. And for me, white card bases for me are where it's at. So let's fold this down. I'll get my nice Teflon bone folder and give that a good press. Like that. I've got foam squares, just a few on the back. I've got, that's the thin depth of foam square, but I'm using, oh, let's get you up here. I'm using both sizes, both the small and thin. You can purchase these in a combo pack. It's just going to go right in the center of the card, trying to keep the word becoming as straight as I can manage it. And I could bring out my T-square, but I'm just gonna wing it. I think that's good enough. Look at that. Isn't that pretty? It's just so simple. So simple. Okay. To finish this card off with just a little shine, I've just got some. This is the Pretty Pink Posh Clear Sparkling Mix. We'll go ahead. I've got my crystal katana. And we will just start placing our sequins. And boop, boop, boop. I've got 3 clusters of 3, which I thought was just the right amount of shine. Boop. Boop. Can't not do it. Boop. I know that sometimes people are disappointed when I do a video without sequins, boop, because you don't get the boops. Boop. I think I'm gonna make t-shirts. Boop. Oh, that is fantastic. That is just fantastic. The core of creating this was 11 minutes, right? Look at how fun that is. A little dimension. All right, but I'm going to also stamp a greeting on the inside because I really love the sentiments in this card. So let's get set up to stamp on the inside. This is my Make Art Station and from Ranger and Wendy Vecchi. Is it Vecchi? And this has been a new discovery for me. I haven't, like, for example, could I have stenciled on this? Yes, I could have, but I wouldn't have had that ease of automatically popping it right into the corner, and that is what made it so quick to use the Misti. But I have been using this to stamp on the inside. Now you can use your Misti too, or you can use a tool like this. This is what's so fun. You pop open your card panel, and all you do here is you just push the magnets like that, so your card panel stays open, right? And now I can just, you know, pop that there and pop that there, and I can grab my greeting. So the greeting that I'm going to use from this same stamp set is the one that says, "Let whatever you do today be enough." And this really is designed with a friend in mind who is working hard to make every day a good one. So I'm going to pick this up here I'm gonna rub, oh actually, you know what, let's do it again. I always like to make sure it's flat before you pick it up with your block. Okay, is that on? Yeah, that's better. And just again, I'm gonna rub over this and I'm gonna grab my ink. Sometimes though, because, and this is what I call free range stamping, I'm not great at it, right? And so sometimes I like to do a practice run. Does that enough room to do a practice run? I think it is actually. Now this won't look as good because this paper isn't. Actually, you know what? I better get something flat. I always have scraps in my scrap bin. Well, it's not a bin. It's actually shelving in my craft/dining room. And sometimes I just want to practice. You know, I don't want it to be so dark. And actually, let's see now. See how I messed that up? Oh, I am not good at this. Free range stamping. Should we do it though? Let's just do it. Let's just do it. We're inking up. I think I got too much ink on this side, and we're just gonna go like that. Oh, I did pretty good, right? That's not bad. Oh, it always makes me so nervous, but I feel like, you know, gotta practice. Gotta practice with the free range because I think there's a, well, I think there's a whole world of potential for me. The mess up, and I would say if we were judging this on a gymnastics standpoint, I'd probably get a 9.5. So that is the finished card project. I feel like Simon's hack is brilliant, and I think I will never not use my Misti to use layering stencils again. Hope this is helpful. And again, another reason why a Misti is such a transforming, amazing tool for card makers. Actually, I wanted to show you one more thing. I had done a version of this when I was just playing around, and I want you to see the difference when you go ahead and add that outline in. Gives you a totally different look. I haven't created a card with it, but I knew that I was going to stamp my greeting in black, which is why I didn't want to stamp black over this. Of course, you could do like a silver emboss or gold over this, or just do some sort of die cut title. That would be very cute too. But that's what it looks like with the black outline in that stamp set. So totally different vibe, but just wanted to show you the difference between the two. Thanks so much for watching today. I would love to have you become a subscriber to my YouTube channel. And if you do subscribe, be sure to hit the gray bell below the video so that you don't miss the next time I post. Here are a couple other videos that you might be interested in watching. Thanks so much and have a great day.